So YouTube Live is all about live streaming. Traditionally YouTube, you record a video, you upload it, people watch it later. YouTube Live is about live streaming, and so I have this goal that one day there will be something going on like the political unrest in Egypt, and some student's going to walk out, pull out his phone, and point it at what's happening, and the whole world will tune into his phone and see what's going on. So I think this is a super exciting time right now. I think that YouTube is interesting in that we have these relationships with all of these ISPs over the world, so that we really can make this possible, that we really can have the entire world watching what's going on through a single cell phone. And so that's why I want to talk about this platform and how you could code applications for this. So I think it's an exciting time. So back in the USA, we had this concert called Woodstock in the 70s. I think it was the 70s. And my mom went to this, and it was the most important concert for the entire decade. There were 400,000 people there, lots of drugs, lots of other things.
Fun.
Yeah. But everybody remembers Woodstock, or actually anyone who went to Woodstock doesn't remember Woodstock because there was too many drugs, but anyway. So recently we had a concert called Bonnaroo, and this was in Tennessee, and it turns out that thanks to YouTube live streaming, 4.3 million people watched this concert. And so even though Woodstock was the biggest concert that that we had ever seen in the U.S., it's tiny compared to how many people could watch a concert like Bonnaroo. So we have some other examples of live streaming. We had the Indian Premier League. I don't think that anybody watches that here. Does anybody watch cricket? Maybe not. Football. I'm not a cricket guy either, but I showed it's on the slides. And then we had the royal wedding. This is kind of amazing. 72 million live streams from 188 countries. I guarantee you I did not have that many people at my wedding. And then we had Coachella, which is another big concert. They had 61 acts across 3 days, 4 million streams, multiple camera angles. So here's the architecture of how it goes. We have production, so we have the satellite truck where they're actually filming, and they're capturing the video. Goes up to a satellite, comes down to a satellite receiver, and then from that raw stream we have to encode it into something smaller that could go over the network. So we have an encoder. Then we have a CDN, which is a content delivery network, to distribute it, because you can't have 1 million people tuning into one server. You need to distribute that out. And then we have the flash video player that everyone watches, and they're watching the stream, so you have the user watching the stream over there. So let me describe the architecture more in depth. We have production with YouTube content partners. So right now, live streaming is limited to YouTube content partners. So basically these are guys who get to make money, who have a following of people, and they sign a contract saying that they won't live stream bad things. They won't. I'm sure you can imagine what bad things are. So they sign a contract that they won't do that. Then they capture it using audio-video equipment, a camera. Then they do encoding. They encode the video stream using software or hardware. And then I talked about the content delivery network. We have our own CDN, but we also partner with other CDNs sometimes, and we used a lot more of other people's CDNs in the beginning, and now we're using more and more and more of our own. And then we have our own player, of course. So encoding, you probably know this is computationally expensive. It takes a lot of CPU to encode something. And so we support software and hardware. So software, an example of this would be the Flash Media Live Encoder or Wirecast. We use the real-time messaging protocol. We use Flash video containers. And HTTP live streaming, it's in the works. We don't have it now, but it's coming soon. And we support the H.264 video codec, so we have 240p, 360p, 480p, 720p, and better is coming. 30 frames per second, 400 kilobytes per second, up to 200 megabytes per second. And then we use the AAC audio codec, 64 kilobits per second, one or more channels. So all of this is, if you are into codecs, this looks very, very, very standard. It is exactly what you might expect. So, you know, there's, if you think of the protocol that's going over the wire, it helps to, you know, think of it from the outside in. The outside is, of course, you know, TCP/IP, but then there's RTMP, flash video, AAC audio, and H.264 video, and so forth. So, scheduling. YouTube, once you're a YouTube partner, you could go in and schedule a live event. One day soon we will open this up to non-YouTube partners, but right now it's just YouTube partners. And so they could just go into on the YouTube site, schedule an event. They say, you know, we're going to live stream something at a certain time, and you know, it's already on the website. And we support discovery, so you could go to youtube.com/live, look and see what's going on, find some local content. But not only do we have it on our site, but we have APIs for this stuff so that you can build your own site. You know, increasingly, people don't just go to youtube.com to watch videos, they go to third-party applications. That's a bigger and bigger part of what YouTube is. So here's an example of a video playing. So these are a group of guys that have this show called This Week in Startups. They get together and they talk about what startups are going on. People get to watch, you know, tune in and watch this live. And then after they're done watching it, you know, the video gets saved and they could watch the video later. So let me look at an example of what's going on right now in the Czech Republic. And I'm always afraid of clicking on these things because I don't know what they are because they're live, and so I haven't watched them yet. But anyway, apparently a lot of stuff is going on. It might be safe to click on a soccer one. That one might actually have been recorded because when it's no longer live, it gets recorded, and then you can watch it there. Oh, and then work my. Okay. So, how do you do this with the API? You know, how do you code this? So there's three parts that I want to talk about. There's scheduling a new event. There's discovering what existing events, what events exist, and then there's how to play back the, you know, how to control the players. So I'll talk about each of those things. But first of all, maybe not everyone here has gone to a YouTube talk before, so I'm going to give a little bit of a refresher on the Google Data APIs. So the Google Data APIs are basically the back-end data behind YouTube. You know, you have the front end where you're actually watching a player, and then you have the back end, which is, you know, all the videos, their titles, you know, their URLs, all of that kind of stuff. So we have a protocol. It's REST-based. I tried to talk them into using something like SOAP or Corba, but they wouldn't listen to me. Okay. No laughs for that. So we have support for XML-based Atom. We support JSON and this thing called JSON-C and RSS. So this is pretty typical stuff. You make an HTTP GET, you get an XML page that contains Atom. You parse it like you parse, you know, XML. It's simple. Or you could request a JSON, which is slightly easier to work with. If you don't want to deal with JSON or XML directly, we have open source client libraries for Java, PHP, .NET, Python, COBOL, and Fortran.
JSON-C?
Huh?
JSON-C?
JSON-C. basically we support JSON, and then the JSON turned out to contain too much data, and so they created a new version of the JSON that they strip a lot of the data out. I don't know why it's on the slides, but it's our own. It is still JSON, but it doesn't have all the data, so that you don't feel so overwhelmed. Good question. Good paying attention. So we have feeds for our videos, such as top-rated videos, most viewed videos. You could get feeds for the users' playlists, who are subscribed to them, their upload feeds, and so forth. You could get feeds with users' comments, profile information, contact feeds, and as I said before, you can interact with the feeds using the Google Data APIs. So these are some feeds that we support for live events. So gdata.youtube.com/feeds/API charts live events featured. So we have featured, live now, upcoming, and recently broadcasted. So feature is, big things. Live now is right now. Upcoming is what's coming up soon. And then recently broadcast for stuff that already passed. So let me click on one of these. So here is the XML. So all I did was do an HTTP GET. I passed pretty print equals true, so that looks nicer. We have a feed. It contains entries with IDs and so forth. So all of those are really, really straightforward to get the data and do whatever you want with the data. So here is a user's live events feed. And so we're looking at the live events for a particular user. The name of the user is YT Yadek W. And these are all of his live events. And so we have, I've taken the XML and I've trimmed it a little bit. We have a feed. Here's his ID. Here's a title for the feed. And then we have 5 videos that he has. And each of the videos has an entry. So here's what it looks like for a particular entry. So once you look at all of his videos, let's go to a particular video. So it's his videos, and here's the ID for the video, and here's the entry and the ID. And so we have a title like Speed Coding Competition, and we have content, including the source video. Status is pending, so it hasn't started yet, and it's going to start at a certain time. Okay, straightforward. Okay, any questions yet? Is kind of what you would expect. There's nothing magical here. So we have a scheduling API. You could add a new event. You could, once you add it, then you could start it, you could end it, you could update it, and then you could delete it. So I'm going to show what it looks like from a protocol level, from a REST level. To add a new event, you do a post to this URL. You include an authorization token. So we support OAuth 2. And a few other things, but I think OAuth 2 is the nicest. And then you include your developer key. We charge $1 million for those. Maybe not. They're free. Yeah, everything at YouTube's free. Except for the hard drives, and we have to pay for those, a lot of them. And so we are posting an entry. And so here's the title for the thing that we're uploading, a summary, and when the video is going to start. So once you add a new event, you might want to start it, and so the state goes from pending to active. And the way this works is using a patch. You patch the event ID, and the headers are pretty much the same before, authorization token, developer key. And then the interesting thing is here. We say that we're going to patch the field called YT when, and we're going to set YT when equals start equals now, so the event starts playing. And so even if you don't have a client library, it's pretty easy to do this using RESTful calls pretty manually. This is not a big deal. And so once the event is done, you patch it to go from active to completed. And so we're patching the event ID, and we're setting GD fields YT when. YT when goes end now, so it ends right now. Similarly, we could update event, patching again. This time we're changing title, summary, and when to Monster Truck Rally, move to Monday, and then we change the date. So, if you have an event that gets rescheduled. And similarly, we delete an event. using delete. Now, I know that browsers don't support delete, so I tried to talk them into using get. They didn't listen to me. Okay, content archiving. So when you have a live stream, it's automatically it archived by default so that you can watch the video later. And so this is a little piece of the XML. My cursor's gone. I don't need my cursor. Oh. So you could tell it to not archive it if you want to have a secret meeting with the whole internet and then not have it recorded. Within the XML feeds, there is a feed from the live event to the archived event, and from the archived event to the live event. And so now that we've talked about the back end, let me talk a little bit about the front end. So here is some JavaScript, and we're going to create a player, and we're going to try playing some stuff. So of course, you don't have to do this. The player, is super simple. But if you want more control, if you want to hack the player using JavaScript, to provide a customized player, you can. So that's an example of what this is. You don't have to do this. And so we're going to create a source tag, and basically we add a script tag for this player API. We have a function called onYouTubePlayerReady, where we create a new player with a certain height and width and a video ID, and then we set up event handlers on player ready and on state change. And when the player is ready, we play the video. But we don't support everything. So for instance, we don't support seek to. I think maybe next year I'll be able to come and talk about APIs where we allow you to seek to the future, but it still hasn't come out of labs yet. My English must be not so great. So my demos, I have demos, Watch Me, PyLive, Wirecast, and Squirrel. So Watch Me, we built an Android application to actually test this out. And you whip out the phone and you point it and hit go, and it actually streams over the internet, and you could watch it on YouTube live. And so this was a coordinated effort between our live streaming team and my coworker. And so I tried this in demos, and it never works because wireless is always completely overrun here, so I'm always afraid of that demo. But anyway, we have an Android application. It works. The way it works is we have on this side over here, we have native Android code. And so it's a normal Android application. It talks to our backend servers using HTTP and JSON. And then, but we needed something to actually encode the video. And you're not going to encode on the fly using Java. I mean, it's just too expensive. I don't even know if there is an encoder that is open. But there is this FFmpeg, which is a very good encoder. It's written in C. And so we compiled that down to get it to run on the phone. And then we talked to it from the Java using JNI. So actually, I was really impressed when they got this working. And so when it's, the FFmpeg is doing the encoding, and it's talking to YouTube live servers using RTMP and Flash Video. So the Watch Me application uses...
Will it make it to the native Android player, so actually you can use it directly from the API in Java?
Whether we include it in the YouTube player...
no, YouTube player, and the media player on Android.
Oh. I don't know yet what's coming up. I mean, at this point, we're at a prototype stage. Oh, and I should mention, this is bleeding edge stuff. I mean, this is like painfully new. This is, I could give you my normal YouTube, overview, but I wanted to give you something like brand new. We're working on this daily right now. And so, there's no integration with any normal Android apps because it's just coming out right now. So who knows what will happen in the future. So that Watch Me uses the YouTube API for scheduling, retrieving, and starting live events, just like you guys could do. I already showed you the RESTful calls. It uses standard Android APIs for displaying the camera preview and capturing camera input. So we get the video content using YUV byte array for video, and 16-bit mono PCM byte array for audio. Say that fast 3 times. And then, as I said before, we use JNI to talk to a local FFmpeg binary, which handles encoding, muxing into an FLV container, and RTMP transport, and every other potential type of magic that you need. So aside from WatchMe, which is an Android application, we wanted to do something server-side too. And so we built a Google App Engine application in Python called PyLive, which is a live events manager. This is the screenshot. Obviously, no one in DevRel is an artist. That's as good as it gets for us. And so you could set up live events, start live events, and live events. Basically everything you could do in the website, but you could do it in our app. I don't think you would need to use our app. You could just use the website. But it's nice that you could code it. I mean, it proves that the APIs actually work. And so this is Google App Engine, as I said. We use OAuth 2 for authorization. That means that when someone else uses the app, you know, person A or person B, it doesn't matter because the application will pretend to be person A or person B, and you don't need to enter in your username and password. It uses OAuth. It's much nicer. We're using the standard OAuth 2 client library that comes with App Engine. So we allow users to view the events list, schedule an event, and manage the state of the event. And for this, you know, these APIs are so new that the client libraries have not been updated for them. So we're just making direct REST calls using URL-lib2. And you guys saw all of the RESTful calls, so you can see it's pretty straightforward. So we also have a partner called Wirecast. This is an application that you run on, I know it's Mac and it might also be PC, but it is like your own recording studio on your laptop. And so you plug in a camera and you could record yourself, but they added special support for YouTube live streaming. So they're asking for your username and password, and you're showing in camera and then uploading directly to YouTube. And that's me in my hotel room last night. And so this is nice. They have like fade betweens and so forth. So another example is Squirrel. So Squirrel is a content curation and discovery application. So if you get 48 hours worth of video content every minute, it's hard to find the good stuff. And so there are a lot of applications these days that use the YouTube APIs in order to show you the good stuff. And so let me show you an example. Don't go there. So this is my channel on YouTube. These are featured played live playlists. Let's go look at those. So they have live events happening now, recently broadcast live events, upcoming live events, and featured live events. I'm sure you guys have seen that before. Those are the same feeds that we have. So let's go look at what's live happening now. And is there anything safe here to look at?
Yes, please.
Huh? Talk with Peter. Let's hope he doesn't say something bad. That's a problem with live. You never know what's going to happen. Or if they're actually going to play. So anyway, if I see something that I like, I could click this and I could squirrel it. And squirrel it means basically save it for later. And so then if I click here, I see all of the things that I've squirreled. And so I could watch it like watching a TV later. Or this kind of matches TiVo in a certain sense. And so they're a very good example of using the YouTube APIs and adding some, adding some additional functionality. And they support the Android tablet, and they also support this unknown device called an iPad. I don't know, kids these days. So recently we live broadcast America's Cup. And so what was exciting about this is that we had multiple cameras at the same time with different camera angles. And so this was a really big deal to watch this. I should mention that everyone in America has one of these boats, as long as you're the owner of a company called Oracle.
A new dimension to the America's come. This is where we start to get serious.
You've got these boats that are going to blow people's minds.
It's a hard time physically for these sailors.
The heart rates of around about 150 to 180 beats a minute. This is speedboat speed. This is speedboat speed. I mean, this is crazy stuff. No wonder they won't crash on this. There's one slip that could be catastrophic. The American.
Yeah, so it's more fun when you do it live. So, you might be wondering, okay, so YouTube has live, but what does that have to do with me? You know, why would I care? Well, you could write software, and so what software are you going to write? Well, you could write software for YouTube content partners. There's 20,000 of them that could be using your software. You could write encoding software, so you could write desktop applications that take care of encoding. You could write event management software such as PyLive, and you could integrate with existing content management systems. So if you know of a content management system and you want to add live functionality, you could do that. And then, as I said before, we get 3 billion views per day, and those guys are trying to find some good content. So you could also help them discover good content by doing curation. So, you know, get a YouTube API developer key once you pay the $1 million that we don't actually charge, and start hacking. Here's the dashboard, the docs, blog, forum, Twitter, or you could use this fancy thing called Google and just Google for YouTube APIs. And then I have to tell you guys, if you're gonna blog about this or Twitter or whatever, there's the hashtag GDDCZ or CZ. And remember to take the survey and say that I tell many, many bad jokes and I need to stop that. And then I will be outside. There is a place called Office Hours where I will be hanging out, and you could ask me questions, more questions if you have more questions. And I will be there between 12 and 1 o'clock and 3 and 4 o'clock. And let me see what time it is. And I have 7 minutes for questions. Any questions?
Yes, you thought that you are using RTMP for Android live streaming, and is it live streaming only for only flash based on client side, or are you recording this? And for example, is it possible to do HTML5 live streaming? Okay, so HTTP live streaming is coming. It's not there yet, so they're working on it. They're actually working on it, and just not yet.
But from client point of view, if I would like to just watch, because streaming will be always using RTMPS or.
Okay, so I'm a little bit fuzzy on how it gets to the CDN, but from the CDN to your machine, it could be HTTP live streaming. I don't know the exact details of how to get it to the CDN.
I have a simple question. What about encoding them like cell phone video and streaming live to YouTube Live? How is it working, or just like do you have some news about that?
So right now we, you saw the codecs that we require, and so right now you have to use those codecs to upload to the server. We may support other codecs in future, but right now it's easiest to write a native application that encodes it into the correct format.
Do you know if there's any engagement to include HTTP live streaming into Chrome? Because I was just Googling what you were asking in the Chromium, called Google.com Chromium forum, there's a won't fix.
So I don't know the exact time frames of these things, but of course we all use Chrome at work, and so HTTP live streaming doesn't exist for us unless it works on Chrome. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, right. But the problem is that you have to use Flash then to get live streaming via RTMP to
up to the CDN or down to the CDN? I mean down
from the CDN to the client.
Oh, that'll be HTTP live streaming, and we hope to move away from Flash.
So you're saying you want to include it into Chrome to connect to HTTP live streaming service?
Does it? Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I'm quoting this.
Don't quote me.
Okay.
If I get something wrong.
But that would be brilliant, I think.
Yes, we would, you know, we are into open standards, and that is the direction.
Standards, so.
Just always we are trying to head in that direction. And this is, right now, this is one of the things that we are working on very, very hard. Well, actually, the two main things that we are working on the hardest are live streaming and HTML5. And so putting those two things together is like peanut butter and jelly. Okay, more questions?
Yes, I have a question regarding this RTMP on Android and this FFmpeg support. Was it a Google contribution, or it's just done by FFmpeg guys?
Oh, it was, we did this in a hackathon, actually 2 hackathons. And so we hope to open source this. You know, it's just a simple Android application, and we will open source it very soon. I mean, that's my job, right? My job is to make it easy for you guys to write applications. It's kind of, I mean, it's hacked code right now, but that will be open source very soon. And if you watch our blog, you'll get the announcement for when we open source that.
Okay, do you have these slides open for download?
Yes, I think that after the GDD, everyone uploads the slides. I don't know. I did that for Russia. I don't know how it happens. I haven't uploaded them yet. More questions?
Can you tell me about monetization on live stream?
Oh, you guys asked very good questions. So monetization does not work yet. We don't have any, we don't insert ads into the live streaming or anything like that. We thought about having the entire world pause while we played an ad, but it turns out support for that is a few years out. It's coming, basically. You know, we'll probably have overlays or something like that, and not there yet, but coming. Like I said, this is bleeding edge. This is very, very, very new. Monetization comes last for us.
Another simple question. In a Czech Google Office, in YouTube Division, do they will have some information about this person?
I don't think
that.
that.
It's just like it's fresh, so.
I don't think the Czech office has anything specifically. The best way, if you want, is to talk to us on the mailing list and listen to us on Twitter, things like that. Okay. Any other questions? Or shall I play one more video? Okay.
I have maybe my last question. Is regarding Flash player APIs. We are starting some portal that we will show some interviews, and we would like to add subtitles to translate from, for example, from Polish language to English. And is it easy? Can Flash player APIs help us to achieve this?
I do believe that we have GData APIs to manage the captions. I mean, you have to work with the system to do it. It's actually against the terms of service to display your own content over the player. But yes, we support captions. I don't know if it works for live streaming, but I don't think many people could do captions live. That requires some fast typing.
For example, you can show Twitter live stream on top of the video, right?
Maybe not on top of, because we don't like people putting things on top of the video, but beside the video maybe. Yeah. So that actually that would be a lot of fun to have, you know, watch something live and then have a Twitter stream going by. That sounds like a very fun mashup.
Yeah, will be there available to do just like our own place player, or
say this again?
will be there availability to use like some YouTube Live URL to use our own Flash player, or just like we need to use YouTube's player?
You have to use YouTube's player at this point.
Or we have to hack it.
I didn't hear that. Okay, yeah, let me finish out one more video.
Well, what can I do?
This has nothing to do with live. I just like a good YouTube video and a good YouTube talk.
Go. Okay. All right.
More than one guitar part. Okay. Somebody playing single notes, somebody playing chords, and they'll mix them together.
Okay. Let's just pick the mother of all funk chords. Let's pick a ninth chord.
Okay guys, thanks for coming, I appreciate it.